Domestic Authority of El Salvador. There's a lot to unpack in those few sentences. One, to answer your question somewhat belatedly, they say he's alive. They say he's secure in the facility, but they neglect to answer all of the other questions the judge ordered them to answer. Now they're just repeatedly thumbing their nose at the authority of the federal district court judge. But then they tag on this kind of ominous sentence at the end. Well, you know, he's detained pursuant to the sovereign domestic authority of El Salvador.
That's what I wanted to dig into, because doesn't them saying that kind of suggest that, oh, this is out of our hands, this is the sovereign territory, this is the sovereign jurisdiction of El Salvador, and what could we possibly do? He's not ours anymore, he belongs to them?
That's exactly the message they were trying to send with that sentence that was not responsive to the judge's questions. It was gratuitous. And, you know, I'm gonna call it provocative, and I'm also gonna call it inconsistent with what the president just said. Think about it. The president said, if the Supreme Court tells us to bring him back, we will bring him back. Inferentially, we can bring him back. And then you have this law enforcement official declaration saying, well, he is being held by a sovereign country. Read between the lines. How could we possibly bring him back? Well, here's the thing. We sent him there unlawfully and unconstitutionally. We are paying to keep him there, and it is laughable and frankly insulting that they suggest we can't possibly get one of these prisoners back because, you know, they're now in another country. So what does that conjure up? I guess the United States government, Donald Trump's Department of Justice, can basically grab up anybody they want off the street with no legal authority to do so, send them to foreign countries, and thereafter they can simply say, hey, they're in foreign countries, nothing we can do about it. That is effing absurd.
Right, and that's the part I think that they want to establish, is that so long as they can grab somebody up, hell, they can grab me, they can grab you, and then just send us off to El Salvador, and then once we're gone, they could just lean on this excuse, this precedent that they're trying to establish right now, which is, hey, once he's over there, what could we possibly do? We would love to bring him back, but it's simply not our jurisdiction, and so, you know, no harm, no foul, but it's out of our hands at this point.
Yeah, it is un-American, plain and simple. Not only, you know, a gross violation of the due process clause found in the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution, it is inhumane. I mean, it comports with no sort of minimal respect for the rights of our fellow human beings, whether you're an immigrant or not. So I don't think this position will withstand legal scrutiny, particularly when and if this thing makes its way back up to the Supreme Court, which, Brian, it may in the near term, because there's yet another hearing set on for this coming Tuesday, when the judge ordered a couple of things. She said, first of all, you will start answering those questions, and you're going to answer them on a daily basis. And I want you back in court in person on Tuesday. And Garcia's lawyers have already formally asked the judge to set what's called a show cause hearing to force the DOJ officials to show cause why they shouldn't be held in contempt for their past violations of the court order.
Right. I mean, at this point, I don't know what we're doing other than just wasting time if the Supreme Court said that they have to facilitate this guy's return, and now we're going back and forth and arguing between a DOJ that is not only arguing something antithetical to what Trump himself said, but arguing something that the Supreme Court already ruled that they have to do. I don't get what the argument is here, and I don't get what the delay is here when they should just be complying with this court order, getting him back. Like, we're not trying to, you know, cure cancer here in the next couple of days. We're just trying to get somebody who we are paying this El Salvadoran prison to house and just put him on a plane back. It doesn't seem like it's that difficult, and yet when the Trump administration doesn't want to do something, clearly it's that difficult.
Yeah, it's a tyrannical power grab, plain and simple. And the other thing is, you know, they love their unitary executive theory where the president of the United States is all powerful. I guess he's, you know, omniscient as well. Okay, fine. Well, Donald Trump has already said we can bring him back, and we will bring him back if the Supreme Court tells us to. And guess what? The Supreme Court has in substance told you to facilitate his return. So, maybe live by the unitary executive theory. Well, die by the unitary executive theory, figuratively speaking.
Right. Well, of course, this is clearly ongoing right now, so we will stay on top of this because it has major implications in the rest of Trump and his administration's immigration policy, major implications in terms of an impending constitutional crisis, in terms of whether the Trump administration is going to listen even to the Supreme Court. So a lot riding on what happens in the next hours or days here. So we will, of course, continue to stay on top of this. For those who are watching, if you want to follow along, please make sure to subscribe. I'll put the links to both of our channels right here on this